Hello, first year students of 2020-2021. I'm Benjamin Musina Oduori, Deputy Finance Officer, Kibabi University. I wish to join my colleagues to welcome you to Kibabi University. One of the roles of finance of the university is custodial services, where as finance, we receive funds from various bodies. For example, the government, Higher Education Loans Board, and students. On behalf of the university, hence we ensure that they are kept in safe custody and paid out as need arises in line with the regulations and guidelines. We in finance, we also plan on the income and expenditure of the university on an annual basis through a budgetary process. The budget acts as a guide to the university. Hence, it ensures that all the expenditures are the ones which are planned for within the financial year. The second role that we as finance, we facilitate payments on behalf of the university, and all the payments are supposed to be within the activities that were planned for through budgeting and are paid in line with the financial guidelines and regulations. Lastly, we also offer advisory services to the university management on financial issues. Then next, I would also like to talk about sources of finance to students. And our major source of finance to students is Higher Education Loans Board, where they give loans. Higher Education Loans Board gives loans and bursaries to students. They also give scholarships for postgraduate students. The second source is the county government bursaries, where the county government supports students to complete their studies. The third is the CDF bursaries. Lastly, we have other sponsors like DAD, USAID, SIDA, Access Kenya, UNHCR, Compassion International, and Ratansi, among other donors. Sources of university finances. The university majorly receives money from the government. This is through monthly capitations and capital development. Another major source of finance the university is fees from students. This is the fees we collect and is utilized in payment of utilities within the university. The sources of finances, as I had mentioned earlier, has conditions attached. The first one is HELB, and HELB has the following conditions. No refunds to students, but remitted to HELB as a loan repayments to students' account. Second, they are not transferable to third parties due to legal issues. And lastly, these funds are not transferable to accommodation, since its purpose is only to meet tuition component of fees. County government bursaries, the conditions attached are returns are done at the end of every semester to the county government to reallocate the unutilized funds to other needy students within Kibabi University from that particular county. Second, these funds are not transferable to third parties in line with conditions set by the county governments. And lastly, the funds are not transferable to accommodation, since the purpose is to meet the tuition component of fees, but this can be carried forward to the subsequent years. CDF bursaries also have the following conditions. Returns are done to the respective CDFs on the unutilized funds, hence CDF reallocates to other needy students. Second, these funds are also not transferable to third parties in line with the conditions set by the CDF. And lastly, the same funds are not transferable to accommodation, since the purpose is to meet tuition component of fees unless otherwise directed by the CDF. Other sponsors have also conditions attached, and the first one is each sponsor has conditions indicated in letters of awards. Second, these funds are not transferable to third parties in line with conditions set by the sponsors. And lastly, the funds are not refundable unless otherwise directed by the sponsor. Fees payment policy. Fees payment policy is supposed to be paid in full within the 20% of the semester, exclusive of direct charges from HELB. And direct charges from HELB, this is 8,000 paid by HELB on a semester basis to government-sponsored students. Second, payment should be done through the banks, the bankers' checks and direct deposits to Kibabi University accounts, which are in Kenya Commercial Bank, Family Bank, Equity Bank, Cooperative Bank, Standard Chartered Bank, and National Bank, Bungoma branches. Personal checks and cash are not acceptable in Kibabi University. Refunds on excess direct payments by students are only done at the end of the course, that is fourth year or final year of study. And lastly, the fee payment policy also stipulates that there is no excess tuition transfers to cafeteria or for cafeteria use. Challenges. The university has very needy cases, and many students come from diverse backgrounds, and therefore that is the reason why we highlighted the other sources of funding. Second, the financial difficulties experienced currently due to COVID-19 by the university. And third, we have the underage first-year students, hence are not able to apply for HELB. And in this case, they have to acquire the national ID before, in case they apply before HELB can make their payment. And lastly, payment of fees inclusive of upkeep money in Kibu. This means that sometimes parents and Higher Education Loans Board release money to the university that includes upkeep money, and therefore most students request for refunds, which poses a challenge. Thank you and welcome once again to Kibabi University.